Hello everybody, this is All Things Parks here. I'm Andrew with my sister Erica.
Hello!
And we are switching things up a little bit today. So generally you'll see us out in the parks gallivanting around, but today we're bringing it into the kitchen because it's Christmas season and that means one thing.
Cookie time!
Cookie time. So what are we going to be making here today?
Today we are making one of our family's all-time favorite recipe. It's a ricotta cookie, so it celebrates a little bit of our Italian heritage. It's one of my favorite cookies, and I'm surprised because there's not chocolate in it, but if you put cheese in something, it's just as good.
Yeah, so it's loaded up with ricotta cheese. We're going to walk through exactly how to make these cookies in case you ever want to recreate them yourselves. And we'll also post the recipe for everybody at the end and also link it. So we'll have a link somewhere so you can check out that photo of the recipe. But let's go ahead. We're going to dive in here because I'm hungry and I'm ready for some cookies.
Alright, so what do you need in order to make these cookies? Ingredient list as follows. You're going to need 2 cups of white sugar. You're going to need 1 cup of softened butter. The star of the show here, the ricotta, so we're going to use 15 ounces. We need vanilla extract, 2 eggs. We need flour, of course, baking powder, salt, and then we're going to make an awesome glaze. It's going to have confectioner's sugar and some milk, and you're going to need some sprinkles because it's not holiday unless you give it some holiday color. So we're going to pick out the sprinkles at the very end.
Oh, hello there. Welcome to the first stage of cookie making with the ricotta. So like any good cookie, we start out with our sugar and butter combo. So that's what I have here in our mixing bowl. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that in our stand mixer, get this paddle rolling, and Erica is working on some of our dry ingredients.
Yes, so me and Andrew make almost 25, sometimes more, plus cookies for Christmas. So it's kind of our sibling bonding thing that we do. And the way we get it done so efficiently is typically 2 stand mixers, and then we always tackle him with the wet ingredients over there, and I always do the dry ingredients. So I just measured out 4 cups of flour, and we can get this creaming.
We will go ahead and cream it. One trick that I do like to use with our butter, just to make sure it's softened enough, is if you don't have time to wait or if you don't feel like waiting, you can throw it in the microwave, but make sure you use half power. Otherwise, you're going to have one upset mother. So again, half power. I'd probably start it out maybe 15, 20 seconds at half power and then check it so that, again, you don't have butter all over your microwave and you don't have one angry mama.
Alright, now I'm going to add to my dry ingredients 2 tablespoons of baking powder, not to be confused with baking soda, so those are 2 different things. And always level off your dry ingredients so you're actually getting the right amount. I like to use the back of none other than a Mickey knife.
Mickey! So I'm done creaming that butter. I don't want to over cream it because then it gets real soupy and that is no good. You're not going to have that cookie form the way you want it to. So what we are looking for here is just a nice combination between that sugar and that butter, and you'll know it when you see it.
All right, then just with a whisk, if you wanted to sift this, you could, but just using a whisk also will help. And the last thing that you have to add to your dry ingredients then is a teaspoon of salt. One of these here.
One of those teaspoons.
One of these is the
It's a spoonful of sugar is actually what it is.
Oh, they're on the back.
Is that going to fit?
It's going to fit. It's going to fit. Going to fit. Oh, we're stuck.
Oh, I told you.
Oh, no.
Just
Sorry to dump it.
Yeah, pour it.
Dump this in here. Overdump. Overdump and
level.
Level.
Nice.
Nice.
Now we can taste that salt.
We can taste it. Bam! All right, well, I'm mixing this. What you got going on that wet side?
So on the wet side, we are ready to add our ricotta cheese, our eggs, and our vanilla. So we're gonna make the smells jump up a notch here. So for the ricotta, for what we're using is just a 15-ounce container of ricotta cheese. And the beautiful thing is this container is 15 ounces, and that's what the recipe calls for. So no measuring on this front. So I'm gonna go ahead and add that in. You can always use your spatula for assistance getting that ricotta cheese in there. And I'm gonna go ahead and turn this paddle on as well, just so we're getting some mixing going on as I'm doing some talking here. So once we get all that ricotta added, again, let that meld and mesh in there for a little bit. And then I'm gonna go ahead and add my 2 eggs in. So I've got 2 eggs here. Again, we've had them sitting out, so they're a little bit room temperature. We don't want them to be extremely cold when we're adding them in there. And so 1 egg goes in.
Yep, and we're doing the whole egg, so not just egg whites, not just yolk, the whole thing.
And 2 eggs are down. So again, let's go ahead and just let that mix for a couple of seconds, and then we're going to go in with our final wet ingredient here, which is vanilla. So what we're calling for here is 2 teaspoons of vanilla. So I'll go ahead and let that drip in. And there goes 1 and 2. Husker Du.
Now what's awesome is to keep track of our cookies that we make every year. We have actually made an Excel spreadsheet, and each year we have a new tab at the bottom, so we always remember the cookies that we made the previous years. So we usually have like probably 12 or so like staples that never get switched out. But then each year we like to research and look at different cookies, sometimes Disney inspired, depending on what they have at like Epcot Festival of the Holidays, or just things that we liked throughout the park throughout the year, and try and recreate those. So there's always new things on the list, and I think people, maybe I'm wrong, but when they come to our Christmas parties, they enjoy seeing what our new cookies are.
For sure, for sure. So eat that, Cookie Stroll. We're coming for you.
All right, so now it's time to bring everything together. So we're combining our dry ingredients with our wet ingredients. I always like just using like a measuring cup, just so it doesn't go everywhere. And I start off just adding a little bit, because otherwise you're gonna have flour going everywhere. And if you do have something like that, you can always drape a towel around your bowl, so then it'll just splash out at the towel instead of all over your counter. But just keep combining until it's all combined. And basically, once it starts to seem like it's pretty incorporated, I just go in with another big scoopful. Sugar, you just see dough. This is a wet dough, right? We just added 15 ounces of ricotta, which is a wet cheese. So it is wet, but do not fear, we don't need to get our hands dirty, because what we're going to use is a cookie scoop. And the reason we're going to use this cookie scoop is so that every single cookie is exactly the same size. Now the other little trick that we like to point out is, this is Mother Knows Best moment. You lay all of your cookie sheets with parchment paper, and then nothing sticks. And it's easy, breezy cleanup. And this was a big mistake. One year I used wax paper. Don't do that. Use parchment paper.
All right, time to scoop. So you don't have to be this close when you do scoop, but sometimes it feels cool to really get into that scoop. So I've got my batter here. It is ready to go. So I'm going to start scooping. So one of the tricks that I like to use when I'm scooping is I go ahead and get my scooper filled above the line. So you want to overfill, and then you go against the side of your mixing bowl to level that off. And that way you can make sure you're keeping every scoop the same size. So I'm gonna go ahead and start scooping these out. We're gonna get that oven rolling and roaring. And we're gonna have some cookies here in just a few minutes, folks. All right, so I've got my cookie sheet lined, and just one little tip here: when you are dropping your cookies, you want to space them out evenly. This is a 13 by 9 cookie sheet, which we have covered in parchment, like Erica said. So you can generally fit about 12 cookies or 1 dozen cookies on here. And then what's going to happen is they're going to go into that oven at 350 degrees for 15 minutes, and we're going to have 8 dozen cookies here, folks. So again, I hope you're hungry, because I know I am.
Glaze time. So while your cookies are baking, don't waste the time. You're gonna go ahead and get started on the glaze, which is amazing. Powdered sugar or confectioner's sugar, we did 1.5 cups in here. And then we're going to use 2% milk. It's 3 tablespoons, but I'm gonna start with 2. I just wanna make sure that we get the right consistency. So we mix this in. We're definitely gonna need more milk. We might need actually more than 3 tablespoons. Let's see what we got.
That's a lot of sugar.
It's coming. Look at that. Whoop. Oh, it's coming together. See, sometimes I think 3 might be a little bit too much. So just always start with 2. You can always add more. But yeah, we're gonna need this a little thinner. I'm not gonna add a whole one. Just maybe half there.
Oh, that's the good stuff.
That's the good stuff. Oh, I can't wait to dunk the cookies in here. Speaking of, let's go check on those.
All right, here's a live peek-in on these luscious little cookies. We don't want to open the oven door here. We don't want that heat to escape, but we're about halfway through our 15-minute timer here, and they are puffing up just like we want them to. Alrighty, timer went off. These cookies are ready to go. Let's take a peek and pull them out. Oh, I wish that you could smell what we can smell here.
Yummy, yummy. And you can see at the very crust of them, they're just a little brown. That's exactly how you want them. And even on top too, look at that. Ooh.
Alrighty, so we're gonna let these cool just a little bit before taking them off, because we don't want to puncture our beautiful domes that we have here. And then also, when you do take them off of the parchment, you don't want to put more cookies right back on that same tray, because it's still going to be hot from being in the oven. And what that's going to do is start to cook the bottom of your dough. And then when you put them back in the oven, you're going to have uneven dough. So that is a no-no. So make sure you let that parchment and let that tray cool before you go in for round 2.
All right, time to frost the cookies. So this is the glaze that we made. Again, the powdered sugar and our milk.
And these are the sprinkles. You can use any sprinkles you want. Generally, we like to use just kind of the regular sugar sprinkles, but maybe we'll switch it up just a little bit, just to give a little bit of a variety on our cookies this year.
Yes, and you just want to make sure that you do add the sprinkles pretty quickly, because otherwise the glaze will kind of set up and then they won't stick as easily. So, in order to be speed in the kitchen, we're gonna do this 1-2 jab.
Double time, double time.
Just dunk, look at that. Woo!
Ooh, that's a good consistency.
There
folks.
we go. And it just becomes a relay race right here.
Sprinkle.
It's like I Love Lucy with the chocolate belt.
And sprinkle.
Whew.
All right, let's switch it up.
Green time. Oh yeah.
And have fun with it. You can add multiple sprinkles, different kinds of sprinkles. You can add as many or as little sprinkles as you want. You can go no sprinkles. What we did last year, we actually made some that were a cannoli type cookie. So we put a little bit of pistachio on there.
Oh yeah.
So again, have some fun with it. There's no rules.
No rules. You can do half green, half red.
Oh, don't think I won't.
Yeah, make it an ornament. Get all fancy with it. I don't know. I do enjoy going to the confectionery this time of year, but these cookies are good. All right, so that frosting is all good and set up. It's like a shell.
It is.
It's like a sugar shell.
It's like a candy coating for your wonderful cookie.
All right, now for the reward.
Cheers. Ooh, yeah.
It's so creamy.
That ricotta.
Chewy.
It helps get so much moisture inside, even though on the outside it's set up because, again, that exterior kind of gives you a little crust. But when you bite into it, it's just so creamy and it's just lovely. This is Christmas. It's not Christmas until you have a ricotta cookie, in my book.
Yeah, the ooey gooey center, but then, like I said, the shell from the glaze, and then the little bit of texture from that sugar on top. It's the way to go.
And that's why I do like kind of going with the granulated sugar, because you do get a little bit more of that crystal crunch. Obviously the sugar balls and the little sugar ants or whatever they look like, those will give you the texture too, but I just feel like all of those individual sugar crystals gives you such a good texture with that bite.
I agree.
So that is our tutorial on ricotta cookies. Again, we will post the recipe for you if you want to go ahead and try it out with your family. But that will do it for us today. As always, make sure you go ahead and like, comment, subscribe to the video or to our page. And wishing your family a very wonderful and happy holidays. Merry Christmas from our family to you. Thanks so much for joining. We'll talk to you soon.
Merry Christmas!